Hey everyone, TCGWolf here. It's been a little while, hasn't it? Yeah, I kinda disappeared for about 6 months, even though it was at large accidentally, and I figured now is as good a time as any to give you guys a little bit of an update as to what's actually been happening, and where we are currently, and what's going to be the future, and all of these silly YouTuber things that you have to do when you want to get back and see if anyone is still alive. Now, this video is going to be entirely audio. You can leave it in the background. It's just going to be me rambling about life for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or so. If you'd like to know how my life has been, then, check this video out. If not, just skip to, the last minute or two, and I'll probably give a recap on everything. Who knows? But yeah, I kind of disappeared for 6 months because just like last time I randomly vanished from YouTube, I lost my job. Basically, 15 people out of our 28 were fired on the spot for reconstructive purposes, and with that, all of my free time money basically vanished into thin air. Sweden, fortunately, has a fairly decent fallback system, given that I still have my house, I still have everything, even though I don't have a job, because you're technically paid a small sum of your normal pay for about a year or so, just so you can kind of survive and find a new one. Finding a new job has been absolute pain. For those that do not know, I work within IT. I am both a security specialist as well as a general technician. Unfortunately, there are about, 100,000 of us out there, and arguing to hire me over anyone else is always a bitch and a half to fight about, and it's just not been great necessarily. It's been kind of a pain in the ass, actually. With that pain in the ass, most of my motivation to really create anything has kind of disappeared into the void, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh! And how it turned its format on its head with the Snake Eyes, Diabell Star, and all of this. It was really, really bad for a while, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've had that little fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I don't think ever. That format sucked. I didn't like tier format, but the Snake Eyes format was awful. And I think everyone agreed that that format just was not fun. So, with the motivation disappearing and having no real money to spend on a lot of fun stuff, I kind of had to just put Sealed Only Dark World on hold, because I know I created a community post way back when that asked, hey, should I just continue to do this online? But when I tried to make an episode with just online opening cards, it broke the semblance of what that series was. I wanted it to be with physical cards again, and Dark World just seemed like the perfect fit for it. And then just moving to online cards felt really, really weird, and that further pushed the idea that I didn't have the motivation to make content, and it kind of stagnated. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, and for that reason, I just had to stop. In doing so, there were also a couple of other shows that I were doing at the time. I was live streaming a Masochist run over on Twitch. I kind of stopped doing that as well when I realized that Masochist runs are just one and the same. Yes, they can be fairly entertaining with the silly sort of shenanigans you have to play, but it's not super exciting to pilot. Yeah, it's probably fun for you guys as viewers to watch someone absolutely suffer through horrible games of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but playing 40, 50 games of Masochist made me realize that is not what I want to do. It was awful. We did have some funny moments, fair enough, but it wasn't enough to really warrant continuing, and I just kind of left it on hold. Then again, I kind of lost the motivation to do anything. I stopped streaming. I was still available on the Discord for the most part, though, and the Discord has still been active during this entire time. I have some seriously hardcore people on there. I think we're roughly around 100 people total on the Discord, but there's maybe 15 to 20 of them that have just actively been there and used it as, their main hangout Discord, which is beyond me, to be honest, so thank you to everyone that's done that. It's really nice to see all of you every so often, and for the most part, we've been doing, small events and little community shenanigans things, and it's been fun. It's kind of reawoken my sense of playing games with other people, just because I like to have fun with them. We've done such silly shit that it's kind of reawoken my idea to create content again. But speaking of creating content, I haven't exactly just been sitting and doing nothing for 6 months. I've just done other things than Yu-Gi-Oh! I do play a lot of card games. Magic the Gathering is one that I've played, and I have played some Commander every now and again. But I've actually spent a very, very long time doing Warhammer and the quote-unquote rip-off to Warhammer, which is one-page rules. I do have multiple 3D printers in my house, and I have been 3D printing basically since it became mainstream, and I really wanted to just set up a system where I could play one-page rules games with myself, because I live in the middle of fuck all nowhere with basically no friends in real life to speak of. There's not going to be anyone else here to play with me, so if I want to play miniature war games, I gotta find a way to do it myself, and one-page rules lets you do that. So I went overboard, and I really, really got into the hobby of like miniature creation and miniature painting and making all of these tiny little war games for myself, and it's been a ton of fun. So I don't know if I am one day gonna open a channel that does wargaming stuff and painting and these, like the other hobby that I have outside of this, right? I thought about it, and honestly, it might one day come to that. I don't know. If I one day want to create content like that, it will definitely be on a different channel, and I might inform everyone. I don't know. But I've been doing it a lot. It's been super calming to have a hobby that doesn't make me want to punch myself in the face, other than when I'm making mistakes that I can fix. So I've been doing that a lot. I've also been playing a lot of just other games by myself. My entire PlayStation 4 collection has finally started to dwindle now that I've played not all of them, but a large chunk of them at the very least. And I've kind of just lived life, I guess. I mean, I got a third cat out of nowhere. It wasn't necessarily meant to be, but I couldn't just leave the guy, so now he's just chilling in my house, sleeping in the chair over here, looking at me really weirdly, speaking a language he rarely hears me speak. But, you know, it's what it is. So I haven't exactly been completely dead. I haven't been, you know, I haven't fallen into some sort of deep depression or anything like that. I'm in no serious danger, is what I'm trying to say. I've just kind of taken a break from everything of the internet other than the pieces of it that I want, I suppose. But now that I've kind of had my rest, I guess, I'm feeling that itch to make something. I don't know how to explain it in like a proper sort of way, but that I really enjoy making content. Regardless of its end quality, because let's be honest, a lot of the things that I do are not that great. I still enjoy making something and putting it out there, whether people enjoy it or not. And now that I've felt the itch again, I felt like I really want to go back to making stuff, just in general. But when I reviewed a lot of the things that I've done in the past, I kind of realized that like some cleanup was necessary. I had a lot of unfinished series on my channel, just because either it didn't work out between me and the people who were doing the series. Like with Cube Progression, as an example, we just couldn't find the time to gather anyone, like all four of us at the same time, and set out, you know, 2-3 hours to play Yu-Gi-Oh! It got really difficult. It was fun, but it's just not feasible to keep up with 4 people. I had 2 other shows planned, one with Dan, where we would spin a tiered wheel and build a deck based on a certain budget and just fight it out and see what the best deck could be. But I very quickly realized when we were doing that, even though we spent a lot of time kind of categorizing decks into different tiers, it just doesn't work out that way because it's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's weird. I don't know how to explain it properly. It was a thought-out idea that just didn't work when we put it into practice, and it had to be scrapped. I was also going to do a themed Seal-only versus with Jacob from Cube Progression, which also kind of didn't go anywhere because we just couldn't find a middle ground that we really wanted to do it with, and again, my dwindling motivation didn't help, and we kind of just ended in a spot of, there's no point. So with those 2 out of the way and Cube Progression basically coming to a halt, I had to look at Sealed-only Dark World. Now, unrelated to all of these things here, I really wanted to continue Sealed-only Dark World when I came back. Unfortunately, in these 6 months of time, I've had to change PC not once, but twice. And I basically lost all of my editing files alongside it. Recreating all of the assets that I used for Seal-only Dark World is going to take a year. There are so many small things, from all of the cards that were generated to the entire tabletop simulator thing that I had set up to like actually do the Abyss. All of the backgrounds and voice files and voice settings and AI generation and things like this. There were just so much data lost that recovering it is not worth it. Like, I can't, for the life of me, warrant bringing any of it back. The time investment would be too big for my brain to handle, so I have just decided that I'm going to shelf it indefinitely and see if I can't replace it with something similar that doesn't require me to rebuild literally everything. I have a couple of ideas, because again, sealed only is a thing that I really enjoy. I've done 3 of them. I still really enjoy doing them. They're really fun. So I don't know how or when, but I'm going to try to bring that back. If you have suggestions, of course, there is the Discord. The Discord has always been live. There is a link in the description of this video and every other video. You can leave a comment down below if you listen this far. The comment banana or something. Just, you know, interactions, whoop-de-doo. The channel is, as far as everything's concerned, basically dead. I mean, nothing has happened on it for 6 months, so I don't expect an update video to really do that well. But hey, you know, it's here. Hooray! Whoop-de-doo! But yeah. So, Sealed Only Dark World is essentially cancelled for all intents and purposes, right? I might bring it back in another format of some sort, but to each their own. Cube Progression is also basically cancelled. The other 2 projects I have are basically cancelled, which leaves us in the precarious position where I can basically do anything because there's nothing ongoing. And there is one particular thing that I'm going to be doing, because the community and I have resurrected the Lupine Weekly. Lupine Weekly is, for those that were there during the original seasons 1 and 2, is the hosted locals that I did back then, back on Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, where anyone can just come along, goof around a little bit, play some funny decks. Sometimes you make it onto the show, and then, you know, you laugh and giggle and whatever. We're bringing it back with the stipulation that decks cannot cost more than $50, which is like my dream, because I love building budget decks. Budget decks are awesome, and now there's just an entire tourney full of budget decks. It's fucking great. So there is going to be a... I don't know how long we're going to keep it up for, but there is going to be a show called Budget Battles, which is essentially just, I'll introduce a deck for $50, I'll play it against my community in the Lupine Weekly, we'll review the deck that I played with my horrible deck building skills, and we'll just keep doing that and see if we can find a deck that's just really good for $50. I have so many decks constructed, and I'm hoping that becomes an enjoyable thing to do, because my god, it's going to be fun. With that too, Sealed Only is a thing I want to return to doing. I don't necessarily have a plan as to how to do that right now. I did really like what we did in Sealed Only Dark World, which making it, you know, something bigger than just open packs, fight guys, and be happy. I love the idea that I could do something beyond that, but I don't know what right now. That, again, wouldn't require me to redo everything from scratch, but we'll get there, surely. In addition to that, too, speaking of the cleanup about the channel that I mentioned a little bit earlier, a lot of the unfinished videos on the channel for things like Cube Progression, there are a couple of other series that I did that never went anywhere, like DPS, Chaos was a thing that I did as well. All of these have now been hidden off of the channel. You can still access some of them through the playlists if you want to go back and watch things like Sealed Only Dark World or a couple of other shows that really didn't go anywhere and aren't continuing. They are available in the playlists. They're just hidden from the main page as to both not screw up analytics and just, you know, not really clutter up the channel with things that aren't going anywhere. Lastly, streaming and stuff. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to go back to streaming anytime soon. I am much more of a content creator in a sense. I like editing my videos where I can, you know, remove mistakes and kind of keep some low semblance of quality standard, I suppose, but I'm not entirely sure what we're going to do with that. Maybe I'll return to it if there's something that really I want to do, but Just streaming for streaming's sake isn't really my thing. I'm not like bigger content creators that can just leverage other people's content for views. I'm not really at that point yet. I kind of have to do something out of my own ass, so to speak. And I don't have anything for that right now. So, we'll see. But yeah, I think I've kind of rambled on and long enough to give everyone that skipped to this point a little bit of a recap. Sealed Only Dark World is cancelled. We are going to try to make a new Sealed Only series whenever possible. If you're interested for the reasons, go back and listen to this entire video. We are going to have a new series with budget decks, because budget decks are fun. I have no upload schedule. I'll just pump them out whenever I feel like it. The Discord is very much alive, and the Lupine Weekly is back in case you want to join us for some budget building. Check the link in the description. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, you'll see TCGWolf back in action for quite a lot here in 2025. For those of you that are still around and have been since, I don't know, since I started or since yesterday, I don't really care. Thank you for watching thus far. I hope that I can bring out some more content for everyone in the year to come. And yeah, as always, remember to stay safe out there.